Hey guys, Joe DeMarco from the Crazy New York Driver Show for Friday, September the 25th, 2015 with another eBay video. Thank you for joining me. Today we're going to talk about the following topics. We're going to talk about an eBay glitch that's going on that I think a lot of you guys know about. We're going to talk more about 30-day returns and how some of you don't like that. Selling on multiple platforms. We're going to talk about a few other things, including your comments on last week's video. And let's get started. Before we get started with the actual schedule I just gave you, let me tell you a couple of eBay events that have happened recently that I would like to share with you that I think you guys may want to know about. Earlier this week, eBay Radio called me up and asked me if I would do a 15-minute interview with them live on the air. Naturally, I accepted, of course. I'm going to put that link to my interview down in the description box, and maybe you guys would want to play it later on. It's only 15 minutes, and it's just myself talking with Griff and Lee about eBay events and my business on eBay, how I built it up. They gave me a shout out to my eBay store, and they gave me a shout out to my brick and mortar store. They're very, very good people, and I'm very friendly with them, and I thank them for the opportunity to be on. The second event I would like to discuss is an eBay meetup that I attended last night, which was Thursday night. As you know, guys, most cities around here have eBay meetups that you can go to and commiserate with other eBay sellers. If I have time at the end of this video, I will insert a clip from the eBay meetup last night. I'd like you guys to see it. I think you guys would enjoy it. But if the video runs too long, over 20 minutes, then I will not insert the clip because I don't want to let my videos go too long. So let's get started with the main topics of today's video. First of all, I received an email from eBay, and I think a lot of you guys did too, about a glitch regarding estimated delivery time. Basically, the email said that eBay made a mistake for approximately a 2-week period where they misstated the estimated delivery time. So if buyers answer no to the question, did they receive the item in time, or give us a low DSR rating for shipping time, eBay claims they will remove it. I know a few of you did get this letter because you emailed me and told me, but if you have any comments about that, if you got the letter or whatever you want to say something, go right ahead and say it. In last week's video, I talked about the new seller update and seller requirements that would start in February 2016. And I read all your comments. And basically, it was what I expected. Most of you guys were happy and satisfied with the changes, as I was. I'm very happy. I'm almost ecstatic. Of course, there was one guy that wasn't happy, but I expected that. I noticed a very interesting comment which I would like to bring up regarding selling on multiple platforms, and the comment was made by the Skinny Cow, and it has to do with seller cancellations. As you guys know, if you as a seller list an item and a buyer purchases it and you cancel it because you're out of stock, you get a defect. It's only one of the two ways you can get a defect. The other way being if a case is opened against you and you do not resolve it with the buyer. I myself feel that if a seller runs out of stock, he should get a defect. I support eBay in this, okay? I definitely do. I've been a buyer, not on eBay, but on Amazon, where I purchased an item and I got dicked over. 3.5 days later, I was told the item was out of stock. And that's a very bad feeling, and any of you guys who are buyers and had that happen to you know it. But the Skinny Cow wrote in and said that there's the landscapers. The Skinny Cow wrote in and said that he felt it was unfair because if he has one item and he sells it on multiple platforms and the item sells, let's say on Amazon, and 15 minutes later it sells on eBay and he's out of stock, he would get a defect. Now yes, he would get a defect. But my question is, why would you sell a one-of-a-kind single item on 3 different platforms for? I mean, is it that important to make the sale? Let's say the item is a real hot item, something that you know is going to sell. Well, you don't need to sell it on 3 platforms. Sell it on one, and I'm sure it will sell. If the item is a dog item, well then I can kind of understand you wanting to get it out there and hopefully get rid of it. But if it's a real dog item, the odds of it selling on one platform, say Amazon, and 15 minutes later on eBay are highly unlikely. Very highly unlikely. But my point is not that. My point is, guys, don't spread yourself too thin. Make sure you have adequate inventory. It's very important, okay? You don't want to run out of stock because you will get a defect. I myself, I mean, it does happen. Let's face it, if you're in business, it does happen, especially if you have a brick and mortar store, because you might sell one to a walk-in customer and then forget you have it on eBay. It's happened to me a few times. I'm not immune to it, but I manned up and I did the right thing. I went out and I bought one, sometimes at more money than I was selling it for, and I sent it to the buyer. Okay? If it's a rare, super rare, one-of-a-kind item, I guess like the skinny cow was describing, but he didn't say what it was. If it is a rare, one-of-a-kind item, I don't suggest you list it on multiple platforms. But guys, you do what works for you. But keep in mind, if the weird event happened where you sell it on Amazon and it's sold on eBay and you can't supply it, you will get a defect. So I mean, I kind of understand this point, but I just wish he wouldn't spread himself too thin. Now, somebody incorrectly stated to the same guy, to the skinny cow, that only eBay will bang you if you run out of stock. In fact, his exact words were, only eBay will throw you under the bus. And that is incorrect information. Let's look at it conversely. Let's say you had the item listed on eBay and Amazon. All right? It sells on eBay first. Then half an hour later on Amazon. Let's say you send it to your eBay customer. Well, you're not getting away scot-free on Amazon. You will be banged. Amazon does not like when sellers run out of stock. I explored this when it happened to me. They don't have a defect system set up exactly the same as eBay per se. eBay is more pronounced, and eBay will show you where you get your defects, okay? But don't think because it's on Amazon you're getting away scot-free, guys, because that ain't going to happen. As far as other platforms like Etsy, I just don't know. But it's not a real popular site like Amazon and eBay. Those are the 2 big boys on the block. So I figured I would cover that topic now. Also, one thing I forgot to mention last week, and somebody brought it up, was eBay is doing away with holiday returns. Remember that long stretch of 3 months where top-rated sellers had to take holiday returns to get the discount? Well, guys, eBay is doing away with that. I'm sure a lot of you guys are happy. Hey, that's good news, guys. Come on, face it. It is. I wish I would have mentioned it last week. I forgot. That was my error. But I'm glad a few people did bring it up and reminded me, so I'm putting it out there right now. All in all, as I said, most of you guys did seem happy with the seller newsletter and the updates. There are only 2 ways to get a defect now. That proves that eBay is becoming more seller friendly. Now, serious guys, seriously. Is there anyone out there that can say they do not feel eBay is becoming more seller friendly than, let's say, last year? I don't think there's a single one. Even those that don't like eBay, and I'm sure there's hardly anybody like that on this channel, I'm sure anybody would have to agree eBay is becoming more seller friendly. And I'm saying it, and I'm Crazy New York Driver. Let's talk about returns. eBay is now requiring top-rated sellers to accept returns for 30 days to keep their top-rated seller status and discount. They say it's the industry standard. Now, I've always accepted them for 14 days. I am going to switch to 30 days just to get the discount. Does it thrill me? No. Does it upset me? No. It's just business. I have noticed, even back when I took holiday returns last year, I have noticed that if I'm going to get a return, it's usually within 1 week. 1 week of receipt from the buyer. So if I sent an item out today, and let's say the buyer gets it next Friday, when he gets it on Friday, if he doesn't like it, he usually contacts me right away that same day, or within a few days after. Very rarely does a person wait, 20 or 30 days, at least in my case. Now maybe some of you guys experience something different, especially you guys who sell clothes. Even on the Facebook groups, I constantly read stories about like someone that's selling a size medium sweater or shirt, and the person gets it and they say it's too small. And there is always some conjecture with the clothes sellers that some of the buyers wear the item a few times before they return it. Again, I can't say that's happening, yes or no. But that's something you clothes sellers would have to jump in here and discuss. Do you clothes sellers feel you get a lot of returns, more than the average person? Lately, my returns have really dwindled, thankfully. I think I've had one return this last month, and it was, of course, a cheap item. I rarely ever get returns on the expensive items, just the cheap items. And I think most of you guys would agree with me on that. So in summation on the returns topic, somebody had written in that they feel it's unfair and they don't like it. It doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother me one bit, okay? Perhaps if I was selling in another line, it would affect me a little more, and that's where I want to hear from you guys. Do you feel that in your line, 30-day returns will be prohibitive? And if so, would you please state what your line is, like, for instance, clothes? I'm very curious. Being in auto parts, it's not a real big deal for me, but I definitely want to hear from you on that, okay? Going back to your comments in last week's video, somebody wrote in, actually several people wrote in, that they didn't think the caricature of me looked anything like me, and quite frankly, I agree with you 100%. One person accurately commented they thought it looked like Jim Backus, the guy from Gilligan's Island, Thurston Howell III. You know, it kind of did. So that person was right on the money on that. Well, that basically covers last week's comments from you guys. Alright, so how were your sales this last week, since last Friday? Mine were very good. No complaints whatsoever. I've had no days where I didn't sell anything. I mean, just all good news, okay? If anything, my sales are going up each week. I went to a junkyard the other day to replenish stock, stuff I really needed. I thought about making a junkyard picking video, but I know that's very selective, that a lot of you guys are not into cars and might not enjoy that. But I might make one in the future anyway. And I guess basically that's about it for now. So, what to keep in mind? First thing, in summation, I'm Crazy New York Driver and you're not. Thanks for watching. I said this before and I'll say it again. This is the only YouTube channel established since 2007, dedicated to talking about eBay issues every week. There is no other. It's Crazy New York Driver time. And the thanks goes out to you. That's why it says thank you on the board behind me. Thank you for tuning in every week, voicing your opinion. Even if you don't agree with eBay's policies or my policies, you are allowed to state your case. If you go back and look at last week's video, you'll see that I do not remove comments that are negative against eBay. I do not want people to make negative comments, personal comments about myself, especially if they're doing it from a fake channel. If you're going to use a fake channel to attack me, you will be purged. But there's very little of that going on. So guys, that's basically it. You're free to comment. The floor is now yours. I said my piece. Say yours. I will see you next week, right here on the Crazy New York Driver Show. Rock on. Here we've got Jason T. Smith here in the New York City Meetup, and he flew all the way from Henderson, Nevada. Yep. Jason, if you don't mind, would you tell the folks your opinion on the new eBay changes and seller requirements that have been implemented?
I cannot wait for the new seller requirements, because this is what it always should have been. There's two things you've got to do. Sell and send the item that you say you have, and if your customer's got a problem, fix it. That's it. That's very factual. Customer bought an item. Do you have it? Did you send it? Easy to prove. Your customer had a problem. Did you help them deal with it? Also easy to prove. Things like shipping this, color that, those were all very like, kind of questionable. This is it. This is how it always should have been. How anyone can have a problem with that is beyond me. Ship the item you got, and your customer has a problem, take care of it. And here's the deal. Maybe I'm a better seller than most. I never have any customer problems. Very few. And the few that I have, I take care of it. It never gets to escalation. Ever.
Exactly. I have never had a defect for a stock out or failure to resolve a problem. So if those changes were implemented now, my defect rate would be 0.
So would mine right now. I have lost a few items along the way, and guess what? When I can't ship that item, I deserve that defect.
I agree with you 100%.
I sucked that day.
Right?
I deserved it.
Right? A couple of times I ran out of stock because I had walk-in customers buy the item, but I went right out and bought the item, sometimes for more money from either another seller or another guy in my line of work, and I made sure the buyer got what he wanted.
Last time I had a stock out, it was horrible. I looked for days. My wife looked, my assistant looked. You know where I found it? Sitting on the shelf where it was supposed to be. I don't know. It's like somebody punked me and stuck it back. I don't know how that happened.
There you go.
But you know that day, because I didn't find it in time. I told the customer, I'm sorry. How bad? They were nice enough not to leave me a negative, but because I canceled the transaction, I got a defect. I absolutely deserved it. But I too have gone out and bought items for more just to get my customer the item, because that's what you should do. If you're in business, the #1 goal is to take care of your customers, because they'll always come back if you took care of them.
Excellent, Jason. Anything you want to say before we bring this to a close?
The changes in February will make you a better seller. If you can't handle them, then you probably shouldn't be selling online.
And don't forget the other thing, watch the Crazy New York Driver Show every Friday night.
Yes, and watch the Crazy New York Driver Show every Friday night.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Rock on, man.
Hang loose, bro.
Okay. Okay, guys, it's Thursday evening, September the 24th, 2015. We're at an eBay meetup here in New York City with Anastasia, who's in charge of this New York City group. Anastasia, say hello. Tell the folks a little bit about your group.
So I run the New York City metro area eBay sellers meetup group. We've been around for about a year and a half or so, and the group is growing. We have like, oh man, something like 170 members or so, and today we had a really fabulous turnout. I'm just excited. I started the group because I love eBay sellers. We all march to the beat of our own little drummer, and I just always get such a kick out of hanging out with other eBay sellers who get it. I get motivated, I get inspired, I get new ideas, and so I really created it for totally selfish reasons. I just wanted to hang out with other eBay sellers, and now here I am, hanging out with one of the best eBay sellers, Hubcap Joe.
Oh, you're too kind, Anastasia. If anybody wants to contact you through your group, how do they do that?
Okay, well, there's a couple of ways. You can go to meetup.com, and then in the search bar, type for NYC eBay sellers. That should bring up my group. And my picture, I think, will be somewhere there. Anyway, that's one way to get a hold of me. Otherwise, you can contact me by email. And my email address is georgestoychest@gmail.com, and that's spelled Georgestoychest@gmail.com.
Okay, I'm going to put you on the spot because I know you were at the California event with myself. And could you tell me your own take on it? Where do you think is eBay going from now?
Oh my God, I am so excited about it. I have to tell you, I've always loved eBay. Like, I just love it. I love the community. I love the platform. I love that it gives me the chance to be an entrepreneur. It's amazing. I have to tell you, the energy in the conference center, the convention hall, was just amazing. It was electric. Like, I'm just so, like, the word I've been using is jazzed. I'm just jazzed about it all. I feel like it's a new day for eBay. The new leadership really seems to get it. The whole kind of mantra of people are good, that Pierre Omidyar, started the company, like, based on kind of that fundamental understanding, I feel is really, like, coming back. I feel like the sellers are being heard. I feel like there's an understanding that when sellers are happy, the buyers are going to be happy, and the whole system will work. So I'm thrilled. I just love the overall energy. It just is like, it's exciting. It feels like a new day. I think all the changes are great. I'm probably most excited about the Seller Hub. I'm like excited to be able to see where traffic is coming from, how to tweak my listings in terms of better keywords and that sort of thing. And I just feel like it's going to be this really cool suite of information that I can use to make my business even stronger. And while I feel like eBay's always seen us small sellers as serious full-time sellers, so for those of us that are full-time sellers, I feel like there's like a new level of kind of respect and seriousness that they're giving to us, which is just really cool and empowering. So. And
they've revamped the defect system, which makes it really hard to get a defect. I mean, you got to be a real messed up klutz now to get a defect,
exactly.
Right?
So the way to get a defect is if you have to cancel the transaction. So it's a good reminder for us all to go through our inventory, make sure we have the stuff that's listed actually in our possession, and we know how to find it. So that's one way you can get a defect, is if somebody buys something and then you have to cancel the transaction because you can't find it. The other way is if eBay opens up a case, or a seller opens up a case and it's closed, not in your favor, right? Like if it's,
if there's no seller resolution.
Exactly.
All right. They want us to work with the customers, and I have no problem with that.
No, not
right?
at all.
But the big point is, with the seller cancellations, I don't think any sellers should cancel a transaction. I think they should have the items in their possession, and if they don't, they deserve a defect.
Absolutely. And you know what? It's happened to me. I sell lots of mostly one-of-a-kind items. Occasionally, I will misplace something, or I will break it, find it broken. And I know I'm a great seller, but in that particular instance, it's disappointing for my buyer.
Sure it is.
And it's not good for all of eBay, because if a buyer has a unpleasant or just, you know, an unsatisfactory experience with me, that could hurt you, Joe.
Sure.
Or any other sellers. It could turn them off from the whole platform. So while I know I'm a good seller, when I do screw up, those, you know, rare times, I deserve a defect. You know, that's fair. And I know it's on my schedule to really go through all my inventory, make sure, especially ahead of Christmas, make sure I have everything listed. You know, I can find everything, it's all in good condition, and it's just making me a better seller.
I'm with you, Anastasia. And thank you for this little interview.
Absolutely, it's my pleasure.
Let's go outside now in the room and let's pan the room and show these folks some noise.
Woohoo! What, I'm not noisy enough, Joe? What are you talking about?
They will drown out anybody.
All right, let's do it.
Okay.